and welcome to the Bottom Up Skills Podcast. I'm Mike Parsons, the CEO of Qualitance, and we are getting deep into the individual trends that all came out of our trends report. This is the third trend, and it's all about the single source of truth. And for those of you who are new to the world of a single source of truth idea, it's really simple. It's essentially one place, one destination, which has all the information for a product, be it tech, be it design, be it the business rules that drive it. It's all there in one place. Now, we might often use tools like Confluence and Jira, or maybe simpler said, it might be like a great Word document that has everything in it. Doesn't have to be too flashy. It can be quite simple. But if you're working in a larger product organization, you'll find the need to have a pretty robust tool as a single source of truth. And what we've discovered is that, hey, this single source of truth idea is essential to get everybody on the same page, but it actually comes with a few challenges. So the fun really starts when you start not only getting people to the tool, but then you start asking questions about what they find there. Is everything they need to go on with their project, is it there? Is it adequate in order for them to be autonomous? And the answer is it's rare that the entire package is delivered. So let's dive into the world of a single source of truth. Now, it's quite interesting for this part of the report. It was a very strong message. We asked over 100 product and business experts around the world, which of the following activities is the most challenging for your business when trying to produce work with teammates? So right now we're in that sort of producing mode, not so much learning. It's more about the producing. We've got to make a thing. And what was really interesting is we asked all sorts of different activities to rate. The one that was the easiest is making an inventory of the work to be done. So, you've got your to-dos. You know what your individual role is. Now, what was interesting, when you compare how big an issue finding the critical information for a product or a new service, a single source of truth said differently. This was over 30% of respondents nominated this as the hardest thing about producing work. It is more than double the next option, and it is, I'm looking at it right now, and I think it's like 10 times an issue than that of making an inventory. So this is a big issue. So let's break it down. And then there's really two key concepts we discovered in the report that make up this single source of truth idea. The first of which, now this is going to sound insanely easy, and you're going to be thinking, Mike, that's so simple. But actually it's not. And I've got a reason why. The first concept is access to this single source of truth. The problem with the access thing is a lot of organizations have geared, if they have a single source of truth, they've geared their access to everyone being in the office. So here's the thing. A lot more people are working from home, and significantly we found. And it would suggest in the data that I think it is unlikely to go back to 5 days a week in the office. I think everybody has found the flexibility and the time saving quite good. That being said, I think everybody does want to have a little bit more social interaction. So it's not going to be 5 days a week from home, but it's certainly going to be a hybrid way of working. So access is actually a little bit harder. It might be simply the VPN can't handle the load of users, or maybe it's that the product is geared for a local area network. Whatever the issue is, access to the single source of truth is actually really fundamentally important. So making a work from home, mobile friendly access to your single source of truth, I mean, that is your to-do list already. And we haven't even got to the big bit yet. Okay, so that's access. But as I said earlier, the fun and games kind of really start to happen here when we think about the idea of quality. And when you think of a single source of truth, the quality of it is really judged by whether someone can go to your intranet, your Jira, your Confluence, your Google Docs, And can they find all the information there? So a good test is if somebody's working from home, and let's say it's an unusual time. Let's say it's, 6 a.m. and they're already starting to work. Well, the thing is, a great single source of truth, right, with all the critical information would be so well managed that person could come on at 6 a.m, their little espresso coffee next to them, and they could log in and find all the information they need to continue with their work. That's good. Here's what's bad. Let's assume they got access, but they get there and not everything has been saved to the repository. Not everything is in the single source of truth. So what do? The crime of all crimes, they send an email. Yeah, they send an email. And the problem with that is, first of all, it creates more email traffic. 2, they can't continue with their work. And 3, what could have been posted once properly to the single source of the truth now, in the future, this person is emailing and sending it to all sorts of different people. But then what happens is, if you ask about the quality of this, what happens when there's version control and they forget to share the updated version with everyone via email. And you can start to see how things unravel pretty quickly when we talk about single source of truth. So my strong advice to you, what we learned, is that it really comes down to attention to not only the access, but the quality of your single source of truth. We have a saying in our company at Qualitance, then if it's not in the single source of truth, then it didn't happen. So if it's not there, if it's not self-service, then it doesn't exist. And it takes a lot of time to get people into that headspace, but we must, as a rule, live and die by that single source of truth. Great access, great quality. And you might be thinking, oh, geez, Mike, this sounds like a lot of work. Well, the good news is I'm able to give you some incentive. And that incentive comes in the form of, we found out from some of the successful projects, from some of the respondents to our survey, is that there's some things you can do. And there's some most important thing is that when you have great access and quality to a single source of truth, 2 things happen. 1, you're able to provide a better customer experience. And number 2, your employees behave with more autonomy. They take more ownership. They feel empowered. They have the information that they need to continue their work. So let's unpack each of these. Better customer experience. We found that BCR Erste, one of the leading banks in Romania, were able to give better advisory advice to their customers because no matter what touch point they engage with the customer, no matter who had that engagement, they have centralized a single source of truth for all customer experience. So you can avoid that terrible situation where you talk to the bank yesterday, you call them back the next day, you talk to a different person, and you have to explain the entire thing again. You don't have to do that with them. So when you remove all of that friction, when you have all of the information, the person, the assistant from BCR Erste, when they're there, they're able to get down to the business of giving good advice. There's none of this time wasting of, okay, please re-explain everything you already told my colleague yesterday. No, they have all the information to make a better recommendation to the customer. They can give better advice to the customer. They have more insight into the customer. The other thing that we found from talking to people all around the world is that a good single source of truth, great access, great quality, leads to more employee autonomy. Because as I said, they got what they need. They can get on with the business that they're there to do. And it's the removal of these pains really opens up the opportunity for good things to happen. So single source of truth, not the most sexiest topic, but it's critical. In fact, it was a massive signal in the report. It's a really big issue and far bigger than other related work production challenges like agreeing priorities, making a list of what's, all that stuff. No problem compared to single source of truth. Where's the information? Make sure you have not only the access, but you provide the quality to your team, and you'll get better customer experience. And in the long run, more autonomy from your team members and employees. All right, product owners, that is the end of this trend, single source of truth. I hope you've enjoyed it. If the answer is yes, hit bottomup.io, get a bunch of our free courses, design thinking, lean, agile, you name it, it's all there. And remember this, that if you work hard on learning these new skills, not only will you be able to build better products, but you'll be able to help your colleagues too. All right, that's a wrap of the Bottom Up Skills podcast. Catch you later.